but I've never fished anywhere quite like this. This is Kansas, flat land, rolling hills, and home to the lake of my very first competitive bass fishing tournament. But I packed up my gear, hit the road, and hoped to learn fast. Crappie, walleye, white bass, and an absolute tank of largemouth bass. Not only am I going to be taking you guys on this awesome adventure, but I'm also going to give you guys some tips and tricks that I picked up, wish I knew, or things I wish I had on my very first bass fishing tournament. I'm Gibby, and let's get casting. Practice day 1. Let's see what we can make happen. Let's get out there on the water, get casting. A little chilly. All right, guys. So I decided to start off for pre-spawn conditions. I wanted to cover as much water as possible and really key in on where those fish were locating and find the commonalities in them. Not even 5 casts in, I hooked up with this awesome white bass. Not a scoreable fish, but good to get the skunk out of the boat. Now that bite came off of a main point. Very probable place for that white bass to be, and probably a handful of crappie and definitely more white bass as well. But we decided to push our way back into that cove, see if we couldn't find some bass already pushing up shallow. Would expect pre-spawn bass to do. We fished some of the docks. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get on any scoreable fish whatsoever. But this brings me to my very first tip for you guys that are fishing in your first tournament. Always bring enough tackle. I brought a chatterbait, and I was going to catch fish on that chatterbait all through practice, and if it did good, I'll fish it in the tournament. What I didn't account for was losing that bait. Oh, daggone. So, if you guys have confidence in lures, bring multiples. It never hurts to have extra. Yeah, it's a little bit pricey, but when you guys are actually on the water and you lose a bait, you're gonna wanna have extras and in different colors to see exactly what those fish are keying in on. So do your research, find your confidence lures, and make sure to have plenty. Moving back to practice day, we focused our efforts on coves. Bass, as the water warms up throughout the spring, move from deeper water to shallower water on those main creek channels in search of not only food to help them spawn, but also great spawning ground. So that's the areas we focused on, and we hit them hard. But as the wind picked up throughout the day, I decided to tie on a jerkbait just to see if I couldn't get any deeper suspended bass. So I threw that around and caught another awesome white bass. These suckers are so much fun to catch, but unfortunately they don't count in the tournament. Only smallies, largies, and spots count in the actual tournament. So not what we're after. Overall, I would say a fairly productive practice day, knocking the cobwebs off, getting some fish in the boat to just get some confidence in the lake itself. We gotta be on the water at 6 a.m. It's almost 9 o'clock here. So we're gonna pack it in for the night. I'll see you guys bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 5 a.m.
O'er the land of the free and the home of
Right on. Let's get it. We started off in an area that we had seen a bunch of male bass pushed up in like 6 inches of water. So we made a beeline to that area and started fishing. There was white bass busting all around us. And that first largie bite wasn't too far behind. I was fishing with the Texas rigged baby brush hog I had tied on the day before, flipped it into like 6 inches of water, hooked up with this fish, immediately got wrapped around a little branch, and the fish was out of the water, just shaking.
Oh, no, he's barely hooked, actually. Far side now. Let's go. Go up there. On. Got it. Right there? Yeah. Okay. 154. Nice. There we go, guys. First fish. Let's go.
That's my ugly mug.
My first scoreable bass in my very first tournament ever, and I was absolutely stoked. We fished that whole cove where we saw those spawning fish, saw 2 beavers, which was really cool. So we pushed out of that cove and hit up a couple main lake points.
I decided to throw a lipless crankbait along this point and caught 2 awesome fish, a chubby white bass and this nice crappie.
Not what we're after.
We pushed back into the cove off this main lake point, and I decided to tie on a swim jig.
As soon as I tossed it out into the middle of this bush that was completely submerged, my line just ticked, immediately set the hook on that fish.
There we go. Looks to be a little bit smaller than the last one. Awesome. Good fish. Thanks for the fight, buddy.
Awesome, awesome second catch of the day.
The bite quickly died there, and so we decided to make a run up the lake to a spot we thought would hold some good bass, and I ended up catching my 3rd and 4th keeper of the day in a matter of like 10 minutes.
All right, guys, hooked up. Number 3 of the day. 1-8 going back in.
We fished a ton of different water, covered it all, and we were running out of time with like 30 minutes left. The wind was picking up just a tad, and so we decided to get as much time as we could, head back to where we launched, and fish right across the shore from that, hoping to get that 5th fish for my limit.
With time running out, we decided just to hit the juiciest spots, the biggest trees, the nicest looking shoreline, and with like legitimately 7 minutes left in the tournament, this happened.
Last fish of the tournament right there. Going back in. Got a limit. Successful day. Let's go.
And I was able to hit my 5 fish limit in my very first tournament day. Which brings me to my second tip if you guys are fishing in your first bass fishing tournament. Don't be afraid to switch it up. Everybody's got lures that they have confidence in, but it's a big deal for you to say something's not working and be able to tie something else on. It helps me catch at least 2 more fish here today. Could have been the difference between me hitting my limit and stuck at like 3 fish. Was it a very good limit? No. Honestly, I'm just happy that I was able to catch fish, and to hit my limit was even a bonus.
But we got the boat out of the water, and I was absolutely beat. Hopped right in the truck, drove back to the hotel, and called it for the night. Excited to get out for day number 2, that 3:45 a.m. alarm couldn't come soon enough. Day number 2, I started off with a different boater. He had a spot he had found on day number 1 that was producing fish, so we decided to hit that spot first thing in the morning. The entrance to this giant cove with a bunch of stick-ups close to the main lake. I started off with the Texas rig baby brush hog, flipping and pitching trees close to the bank. And before that sun was up all the way, I caught the biggest bass of the trip.
It's like real healthy one I've seen.
That's what I'm talking about. Smoked it. Finally got a decent one.
That's a healthy one. 408.
408. Let's go.
There we go. Fuck yeah.
4. That's a healthy fish. Going back in. See you, girl. Whew. We're just talking about how.
Need to bump into one.
Yeah.
Right
Let's
off
go.
that big piece of wood.
Yep. Sweet. Just need 4 more of those.
Which brings me to another point. If you guys didn't hear my boater, he said that he had thrown his chatterbait right by that tree and didn't get a bite at all. And I threw my brush hog in there and caught over a 4-pound bass. That just goes to show you, especially as a co-angler, to never pass up a spot just because somebody had already fished that, whether it's some guy on a bank, some other guy like running the bank in front of you, or even the boater that had hit that spot first. Yeah, I had a different lure tied on, and it helps me give a different profile to the fish, but even though I saw that he had already casted there, I still determined that spot to be a great spot to hold a bass. it paid off. That was an absolute incredible fish. 4-pound bass in a tournament, can't hardly beat it. We fished that spot for a while, and I wasn't able to get another fish, not even one. I decided to push back into some coves off the main lake, and I hooked what I thought was a halfway decent bass. It turned out to just be one of these.
Got ourselves a, not what we're after. Walleye or saugeye? No idea. Not a bad fish. Not what we're after though. See you, buddy. Who would have thought?
We even went to another spot, and you'll never believe what I caught there as well.
They're stacked up in there. Ate the juice. Another walleye. Or some sort of variation. It's not what we're after.
But it was important how I caught that fish. Using a Texas rigged craw, pitching these much deeper submerged trees in 10 to 12 feet of water. We continued to do that, and I ended up catching 2 more bass up and down this bank just pitching these trees.
You just caught one fairly shallow, didn't you?
Where are you catching yours off of this wood though?
Yeah, that's where I got both of those. 1, 2.
118. Close.
Not too bad. 118, going back.
I don't know if that's true.
There he is. I knew he was there. Thought it was a stick.
A stick fish?
It's a spot. No.
That's a largemouth.
Go pound.
0.78.
The weather the rest of the day took an absolute turn for the worst. The wind picked up like crazy, and it was just tough fishing. For the last 2 hours of the day, hardly anybody caught anything, and I headed back to the ramp with only 3 fish out of my 5 fish limit. But I'm excited just to have gotten out there and have caught fish, and I had an absolute blast fishing in my very first bass fishing tournament. I went over a handful of tips in this video, including making sure you guys had enough tackle, not being too scared to change, and making sure to diligently hit spots even if somebody had already fished it in front of you. A couple other tips I'd also like to add, just as a co-angler, which means you're just tagging along with somebody that has a boat pretty much, and that's just being able to adapt. You're going to get all different boaters, and you're not always going to get the best casting lanes or the first go at any of those really good spots. But don't be afraid to switch lures, always double check spots, use lots of moving baits, find those fish, slow it down if the fish are being finicky, and if tournament bass fishing is something you guys are interested in, I highly suggest giving it a shot. It's something that I've been wanting to get into for a long time now, and just now getting into it, I realized I should have done it a lot sooner. But this was my first experience in a bass fishing tournament, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Learned a few things, and enjoyed coming on another fishing adventure with me. I know it's been a while since I uploaded, so if you guys watched this whole video, I appreciate it a ton. I have another bass fishing adventure coming up next for you guys. I've just been on the road like crazy, but you guys better stay tuned because we have a huge adventure coming up, going international to see if I can't get on a fish that I have never caught before in my life. So you guys stay tuned. Make sure to hit that subscribe, hit that like button, and comment down below if you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have other tips for guys going out on their first bass fishing tournament, and or what you guys had learned in your experience doing it as well. But that's going to do it here for today's video. YouTube thinks you guys like this video, so don't let them get mad at you. The algorithm always knows. I'm Gibby from Cutthroat Casters. Hope to see you guys out in the water. Until then, keep freaking casting.